I may have to sell a kidney. So we're busy getting the truck fixed right now, and I got the estimate and the quote for several different repair bills, and I'll tell you why I did what I did. But we're going to go over several of the repair options and what each one of them means, and you're going to understand at the end why I did what I did, and I'll tell you what I did at the end. So let's go over the first repair option, and whew, yeah, it's a doozy. So it's another day in the back room of my house, and I get an email. I printed it out for what it would cost to fix my truck with all the overhaul kits, and I'd go over the first one here, which is, oh yeah, and the first kit was $5,747.95, and it's basically, it just basically comes with pistons, liners, main bearings, upper engine gasket, head gasket, oil pan gasket, seal O-rings. It's basically just a refresh kit. It comes with new pistons, liners, and all the wear parts. So basically it's reusing all of your stuff on your engine, but it's just a freshen up kit. And I thought about that, and then I realized, well, the engine hydro locked. So what, you know, what about a connecting rod? Well, this kit didn't have connecting rods, so that led on to the next kit. The reason I got thinking about connecting rods was because I had a hydro lock problem. It wasn't my starter that was going out. It was my starter trying to push the water out of the cylinder. So I said, okay, so we went from the regular classic kit to the next kit, which was the, let's see, 5.7. Yeah, it was the 5579457 RX Pro kit. And it had everything that the first kit had, plus a few more little pieces. Like it came with a fuel pump repair kit and the water pump, a few extra things, but it also came with connecting rods, and the Elite kit of that came with injectors too. So it had a few more options. The Elite kit, which was the next kit up, is that the next 5.8? Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that one in a minute. But that came with it didn't come with injectors. It came with connecting rods. And so I said, well, we're going to have to do connecting rods, probably, because I may have bent one. Which led to the next kit. And you can kind of starting to see how this is spiraling. Well, it's going to turn into a tornado here in a minute. Because I said, okay, if I get that and I bend a connecting rod, that's a problem. But if there's that much pressure, what if the head's cracked? That's another $10,000. But don't worry, there's another kit. So the next kit has everything, and that next kit is a little over $20,000. Now it uses your block, uses your head, I believe. Let's see. What's a $20,000 kit? RX Elite. Yeah. And it has everything to rebuild to basically rebuild a long block. So it's a nice kit, and it comes with connecting rods, fuel injectors, and I think it looks like a fuel rail too. But it pretty much utilizes your old head and your cam and all that. That was kind of one of those things to where, so if I went with that kit, which if I was doing this, I probably would have gone with that kit if I could have ensured that the head was in good shape. Here's the problem. Tearing down the engine to find out that much, there's a lot of labor involved. That's about a $6,000 to $7,000 job to tear the engine down to be rebuilt. And that's a lot of money on a whim, on an if. So I got really looking at that thinking, well, I could probably go that route, but the thing that concerned me the most was the head. The head's bad. It's you know, you're talking, you got to buy another stripped head. And with the engine having 1 million miles on it, now it was redone on recall at 468,000, which means it's got just a hair over 600,000 on it. But I don't know. I know they redid the cylinders, and I know they redid a bunch of the internals, but I don't know if they actually redid the head or the cams or anything like that. So those cams could have 1 million miles on it. So I apologize for the rough cut. The camera fell over and I had to do some slick editing. It really wasn't all that slick, was it? But that being said, a lot of the components on the engine still have over 1 million miles on it, despite the fact that it was recalled and it had new liners and pistons and stuff like that put in it. So that was something to be concerned about. So you go to the next kit and adjust that. It'll probably fall over on me again. The next kit is basically, it's a long block. You get for $29,000 plus give or take some change, you get a whole complete long block. It's basically a long block with a few little things put on it. I didn't have that list. I didn't have the whole recon list of that. That didn't come, but what it is you get a block, you get the head, you get the cams, you know. Basically, it's like buying a, I think it came with the intake and maybe the exhaust too. But it's basically buying a long block from your auto parts. And then all of your stuff gets bolted onto it. And I like that idea. But that also created a problem. Because while the engine is new, my components, I've never replaced the EGR. I've never replaced the turbo. I have no idea how many miles are on all of these things. And I got a bad EGR valve. So that created a problem. I had to get a drink. So the long block, that created a problem. Now I know what you're thinking. Why not just, you know, put your stuff on it, save a little bit of money, and just run the stuff out? That was my thoughts. But the EGR flapper valve is already gone, and they don't make that particular valve anymore, so the replacement is about $1,200 to $1,500. Not a big deal. The turbo, that's about $6,000 on a good day. You can find between 4 and 6 a reman. A brand new one will run you between 7 and 8. They're insane. And then, you know, you have the EGR, which is about a $2,500 piece on top of that. And there's no wiring harness. And getting a new engine wiring harness, that's $3,000 to $4,000. What I know, and I've done this before when it comes to automobiles and stuff like that, is when you put old parts on new engines, those parts, they fade twice as fast. And while the wiring harness would probably last to a point, the flapper valve would have to be replaced anyways. The turbo and the actuator, I would say they would probably maybe last another 6 months. Brand new engine. It's going to be working at full capacity. And it's going to make that turbo work. So, I'm looking at a long block, plus dropping another $15,000 to $20,000 to repair all the stuff that needs to be repaired. But wait, there's a solution for that. There is one final kit that you can get, and it's about $40,000. And you're thinking, Dave, it's a down payment on another truck. You would be correct. But the $40,000 kit comes with everything. Turbo, EGR. We just did the math at $30,000 for the long block. I'm already $15,000 in just parts. They're going to have to get put on plus the labor. But for 40, all those parts are on the engine. It's a literal drop-in. From the fan hub to the clutch to the bell housing. From the bell housing all the way forward to the fan hub. Everything is there. And I got to thinking about all the wire in there stuff that's going to have to get done. I'm going to have to put a new harmonic balancer on there. You're putting a brand new engine in. Why would you use a balancer that potentially has 1 million miles on it? They're liquid filled. That thing's shot. So you sit there and you think about all of these things about why you're in there. And that's why I decided to go with the full Monty. Because my wiring harness has already been hacked up. We've had to do multiple repairs on that because PACCAR wiring harnesses are not all that good. They do wear out. And 1 million miles on anything is still 1 million miles. So, the turbo. You know what? I'm going to have to replace that. For an extra $10,000, I get everything. Or for an extra $8,000, I get a turbo. It's a no-brainer. And that was why I decided to go that route. The reason I decided to do this rather than get another truck was a very logical one. And I've touched on it on the last video. Doggone it. Why this thing hates me. So we can get it through another couple of seconds. And I know what you're saying. Logical. How is that logical? You could have just got another truck for another $10,000, $15,000. Not really. Trucks right now, the prices of them have gone up 8 to 10% across the board if you can find one. Used trucks are expensive. That $45,000 truck I was looking at 2 years ago is $80,000 now. That's, yeah. And you're still getting the same truck. And part of why I decided to fix it was because this right here solves a lot of problems. There's a lot of preventative maintenance that's going to get taken care of by doing that. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. All that stuff would have been taken care of if you got a new truck. No. If you buy a truck with 450,000 miles on it, all the maintenance has been deferred, and there's still a little factory warranty on it. They got rid of that truck before they had to do any real work to it. So, that's kind of the point. I'll explain after I have a drink of my... It's my lunch. The one thing I've learned from owning a couple of trucks and being very attentive is that these things are inevitable. And I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go too deep in on it. At 450,000 miles, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't broken yet. So everything I'm fixing here and everything that I fixed, I just threw away on the old truck. I got another truck. I'm going to get another year, and I'm going to be right back here talking about this very thing. That's not a joke. At 600,000 miles, it's just everything starts falling apart. Then my last truck was this way, this truck was this way, and every truck I've driven with this many miles on it is exactly this way. It's just miles are miles and things break. And you're like, well, why don't you just buy a new truck? Well, there was a reason for that too. Truthfully, a new truck would be more than ideal. I'm not even gonna lie. But, and I know I can afford it. I mean, I'm making a payment right now on the truck, and I'm paying rental on this truck. That right there costs me more a week than a new truck would. Here's the problem. At $450,000, $500,000, the truck's just about paid for, and I'm right back here. Don't get me wrong, I'd have some warranty and I'd have all that, but the truck wouldn't be paid for like it is now. And I just, all the roads seem to come right back here. So buying a new truck is kind of one of those things to where if you really want to live in the truck and you really want the investment and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not something that I really felt like I needed to do at this current time. But a new truck would be ideal, but also the problem with that is there are no new trucks. I got to find something to drive for 6 to 9 months while my truck is being built if I went and ordered a new truck. Unless I got lucky and found something on a lot that I really liked. But if you're going to buy it right now, you're going to pay a right here, right now price. And it's going to be $180 easily. Once you do your trade-in, which they're not going to give you any money for. I'd be lucky to get my truck paid off at this point. And I only owe, what, $3,000 on it right now? So, yeah, they'd give me maybe $6,000, $7,000 in its current state, if that. With the down payment and all that, I'd still come out probably somewhere around $130 to $140 after down payment, trade-in, and all that for another 5 years, and we're talking $3,000 to $3,500 a month, plus higher insurance. So, but then I'd still have to wait. What am I going to do in the 9 months I'm waiting on a truck? I've got to drive something. So I sit there. I can't drive my truck. There are no used trucks. It got kind of weird that this suddenly became the most economical way to keep going. It sounds so counterproductive. And it really, to me, it seems that way too. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you guys. This is, on the surface, this is the dumbest thing a guy could do. But when you start looking at the numbers, it's the only thing a guy can do if he still wants to keep rolling in his current truck. Paying the most out of pocket up front is actually the most economical thing I can do in the long run. It's insane. But once you really study the numbers, like I did, it's almost like there's no choice. And don't get me wrong, I have a choice. I can sell the truck to the dealer, take my $5-6 grand, pay the truck off, pocket a couple grand, and go be a company driver. And save all that money that I was going to spend on this engine. I could pay the house off and all that. But then what? I don't like being a company driver. I love the people I work for. They're great people. But I really do like being an owner-operator. I really do. And I'm going to have to make some coffee later. Sorry. I really do like the people that I work for. But I really enjoy being an owner-operator. I think it's something that, you know, if you have the aptitude for, I think it's something you ought to try. Don't go in whole hog. You don't have to start off with, you know, your own authority and insurance and everything right out of the gate. You can ease into it like I did. You know, work for somebody. Lease on with somebody. It's worked out for me. May not work out for you. You may want to end up eventually get your own authority. It's stepping stones. But once you find a place you're comfortable, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's where I'm at. And that's why I decided to fix the truck. And that's why I'm spending the money to fix the truck. This will get me down the road for another couple of 2-3 years, hopefully. And I'll recoup my money in another year and a half. I should get a bunch of tax money back, and the government still owes me a bunch of money for back taxes. Yay! But that's nobody's business but mine, I guess, and I don't know why I shared it with you. But at the same time, it is what it is. this right here is the fastest, most economical way to get back on the road. Seems counterproductive, and in a lot of ways it is. But at this point, it's the only way. I could do the $5,700 kit. Altogether, it'd probably run me $15,000 once labor and taxes and all that. And they would probably get the truck going. But turbo goes out. EGR, I would have to fix the EGR. So, I mean, I would already be in, 8 to 10,000, probably closer to 12,000 in extraneous parts on a $5,700 kit. So we're talking $25,000 to do the cheapest thing possible. So you kind of see where my math is going now. So that's why I chose to go the full money. So something to think about. So I hope none of you ever get stuck in this position, but if you do, don't allow a salesman to pressure you into buying a new truck, especially in today's economy. Take a day or two, take a step back, and really evaluate what you're looking for. And if you need advice, go find some good people to bounce these ideas off. You don't have to find solutions, but sometimes you just have to hear it come back. And allow yourself some time to make educated decisions. It's your money, and it's a lot of your money. And you have to do things right, and you have to do things right for you. So, I'm doing things right for me. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope this video hadn't been too mundane, and we'll see you next video.